We've got the fires behind us. I'm at Rockpool today, and fires are lit. We brought some grass-fed steaks in. The lovely Cory Costello, executive chef of Rockpool, has chosen a couple of steaks. Cory, thanks so much for having us today.
No worries, Penny. I was just attending to our fire there.
If you were going to choose a steak, what would you choose?
Straight up, I'm going to grab a Scotchy or a ribeye on the bone. The spinalis down here, you know, that's the Rolls Royce part.
Yep, for sure.
You know, the eye is great as well, and I just prefer to eat that because you've got a lot of the tenderness that you get from the fillet, but you just get so much more flavour from a rib and from a Scotch. We'll start off with a little bit of oil in our pan. This pan's been preheated. It's nice and hot. You can see the oil is running and it's starting to smoke straight away. If you don't have smoke straight away in your pan, it's definitely not hot enough. So if we have a look now, we've got a really nice crust and color on that one. Now we're gonna add the magic. We're gonna add all of this butter, and then when we add that butter, we're gonna turn it down to pretty much a low temperature. Now, obviously you don't eat all of this butter. It's purely just for cooking purposes. Now we're gonna put a little bit of thyme in there just to season up that butter and give it some flavor. So we've just got this on a very gentle heat. So you want to have that really hot at the beginning, sear up your steak, and then once it's seared off and you've got the brown that you sort of desire, then you start with the basting. Usually a fillet like this size would be about 5 or 6 minutes for medium rare. And you can sort of start to feel it. So when you fillet that steak at the beginning, as opposed to now, it's just firmed up a lot. Yep. So look, that's pretty much ready right now. We'll just rest that up. That'll still be nice and juicy on the inside. We'll let that rest. So that traditionally, it's for as long as you cook the steak, you should rest it for the same amount of time. Okay. Scotch fillet is going to cook a lot faster. So we're not going to go through that as heavy a basting process as that. But essentially, it's going to be the same method. So a little bit of salt. So you can have a look at that. That's a really nice crust in there. And that's where you're going to get a lot of your flavour from. It's actually pretty hard to burn a piece of meat. We'll do the same thing with this. We'll knock this butter into it now. Lower heat, the butter's involved. Now you're just basting it, getting it to come up to temperature. That's pretty much done now, and you can sort of tell just because the way the meat's sort of firmed up. So have a look at that. It's you can see the beautiful coloration on that meat. For these ones, this fillet, that's going to take sort of 10-15 minutes. Right. This one's probably going to take 5 minutes. This one's going to take 2 minutes. And that's what we're looking for. So next we'll put this Scotchy on. The Scotchy's going to go where it's a little bit more gentle. Not that much more gentle though. And then over here, a little bit less heat again for our fillet. So you're going to get some nice scoring on this steak. So that is almost done. 2 minutes, I'll rest it up. And if we just have a look at this one here, it's starting to get a little bit of color. And this fillet here should only have a couple of little grill marks there. So if you have a look at the grill marks, they're just sort of starting. This one here is almost ready. We might give it another little chance to crust up a little bit more. So we'll rest that up now for a few minutes. So the older the wood, the less smoke you get, the less oils that are in there. So we have a look at that now. That's got a nice little crust on it there. So this one here is pretty much ready now. We'll rest that for about 5 minutes, and then before we serve it, we'll put it back onto the grill and just give it some heat. Okay, well that's got a good amount of color on it now. And then our fillet here, it's just slowly ticking away. So they're the two steaks that we cooked on the fire, and you can see that they come off. They're just nicely pink in the middle. They're nicely rested, and they'll be the most tender because they've been cooked at a nice level, at a level where it's hot and it's fast, and then you rest. If you have a look at that there, you know, the crust of that meat and that beautiful pinkness through there, you can tell that's good quality meat. Grass-fed, as I said. Anyone who's eats a lot of meat or knows a lot about meat will always choose a grass-fed over a grain-fed any day.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Good on you.
Oh, great.